What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas back with you on a Monday evening. It is 10 o'clock. That means it's time for our little weather hangout. Welcome to everybody tuning in on YouTube, on the TikTok, and on clickorlando.com. If you just hit that little icon or that push alert on your phone, comment, post where you're tuning in from. You can do that in the interactive chat session that pops up in the article. Just scroll down a little bit and you can post all that in. Alrighty, guys, kind of a weird weather setup over at least the last 12 hours or so, and we're going to be in one of these kind of weird weather setups for the next 24 to 48 hours, give or take, as this kind of elongated area of low pressure is just chilling in South Florida. And for that, we are going to get right into it. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight. Would love to see where you're tuning in from. By the way, we have a live look tonight in Ponce Inlet where we've had some showers on and off coming in from the coast, and then also in Daytona Beach. We also had Naples there as we were waiting for the show to begin. Thanks to our friends at WeatherStem for the use of their camera network across the state of Florida and the entirety of the country. If you're watching from TikTok, post in the comments. YouTube friends, I need you to post where you're tuning in from. You'll get a shout out. Any questions, of course, feel free to interrupt. You guys steer the ship if you are new here. But I do want to give you guys the heads up again tomorrow, especially, I would say, mid to late morning, because of this little trough, this surface trough. Now, we have shifting winds. This was our cold front. Remember, it felt really nice. Show of hands. It felt really nice. Give a thumbs up on YouTube. Throw those hearts on TikTok. If you remember just this past Saturday evening and Sunday, how it was still hot out, but it was comfortably hot. That humidity was much lower for a short time. That was our cold front that kind of stalled out. It died in South Florida, and it has been raining cats and dogs down in South Florida for the last couple of days. Now, this little boundary, it's not a cold front anymore, but there are still shifting winds here. So we still have this focal point for kind of storm initiation, and that's going to start lifting back to the north a little bit, back into Central Florida. As it does that, some of that moisture and disturbed weather rolls back in our direction. At the same time, we also have this little guy, really a big guy, this dip in the jet stream. You see all of that orange. I want to add, put that play button on, all of that orange and brown, all of that orange and brown coming in from the southern part of the country. I mean, we're the southern part of the country, but you know how they say the further south you go in Florida, the further north you are. All of that brown air from the deep south and spilling into the western Gulf, that is an upper level low that's also helping to guide in some of that moisture. So the two of those things combined are really helping to create this very different than what we're typical. And when obviously we're used to rain, okay? Like we deal with rain all the time. It's the timing. Normally, especially if you're in landscaping or roofing. We had a roofer on last night. I hope you were able to get some work in. If you're on the live stream tonight, again, he was in Bradenton. We told him that we thought that we'd be able to have a window in the morning, and I think there was. So hopefully that worked out. But normally we can count on, okay, a dry, hot start and then like a sultry, wet finish into the afternoon. That's not been the case lately, at least the last 24 hours, due to the fact we have those two areas combined. Now, we showed you this last night whenever the Hurricane Center hoisted it, and I'm going to show you future radar coming up in just 1 second because I do want to give you guys a heads up. All right, Astro, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for tuning in from South Florida under that line. You know what I'm talking about with how it's been so wet and unsettled the past couple of days. That little boundary in South Florida, as it rides back up, it's going to have the potential to become a tropical system. It's a very low potential. And again, this is going to be as it goes away from Florida. The makings of it, though, is what has been bringing the rain to the Florida Peninsula over the last 24 to 36 hours. So we are kind of the starting point for it. And then if it stays over water, that's when it'll have the shot to develop. I don't know that it's going to stay over water. It might skirt the land, and then that's going to interrupt its development. And I'm going to show you in just a little bit. We also have a nice big chunk of Saharan dust coming through right up into Florida and into the southeast corner of the United States. It's going to have to do battle with that drier air uh, as it gets moving up the southeast corner of the United States. There's a lot of things working against this little entity, but it is over the Gulf Stream. If the center stays out over the water, and you can never count any of those out. But again, that's moving away from Florida. Okay, so here we go tomorrow morning. On your way to work, 5, 6 o'clock. I think things are looking okay. Let me just double check to make sure I have the latest. I am waiting for the absolute latest model data to come back in. Okay, it's in a little early. This is going to be the evening run, the 0Z run. So this is now the first time I'm looking at this data with you guys. I had the 23Z run, and that's all Zulu time, UTC. So meteorology world, we run off of Greenwich Mean Time. So there are like three ways to call it. It's either UTC, Universal Time, Greenwich Mean Time, or Z Time, Zulu Time. It's all based on what time it is in Greenwich, England. Okay. So that's how we use. So 0Z is midnight there. We subtract 4 hours and we get 8 o'clock. So this is from the data that came in from 8 o'clock tonight. This is hot off the press. This is the first time that I am looking at this data because I was waiting for it to come back in to the computer. So this is going to be a complete surprise to me. There we go. So it's starting to show the same thing, and it's starting to become a little more clear that 5, maybe sneaking out to 6 o'clock, we're going to start to get in on kind of a dry spell. But then once we get approaching 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, this is when we have our big push of moisture coming in. And this is why, again, we talked about the pattern being unusual. Typically, if it's a typical summer day in Florida, I know it's technically not summer yet, we wouldn't see storms erupt until 2, 3, 4 o'clock into that ballpark. So that's what it's looking like again, 7, 8 o'clock. So that could be a rough morning commute. Again, we were talking about this earlier at News 6 at 4, 5, and 6, that we would likely have the worst of this, the heaviest for your 5 to 7 o'clock commute along I-95. And then it would start to fill in deeper into the morning. And then there it goes again, pushing towards that 9 to 10 o'clock hour. That's when we're going to have, it looks like, the opportunity for some super heavy rain right along the coast. And that's where I'd be concerned with some ponding on the roads, poor drainage areas, stuff like that. We're going to have to watch. 2 o'clock, scattered thunderstorms continue, and then we'll see another wave push through before it kind of dries out as we move into Thursday. I do think we have another round coming in on Thursday before some of that drier air starts to push through. Palm Bay, what's going on? We are going to be watching that for you as well early tomorrow morning. So it's going to be interesting to see if this data holds, because it's been looking like this model that I do trust, this is the high resolution rapid refresh, had been holding off the kind of the start time for these storms till about 9 to 10 o'clock. So it's trying to push the envelope a little bit. We're going to check our in-house model. This is one of the things that we're going to do a lot of, especially once hurricane season, gets deeper into the season. We don't want to ramp up, but how we're going to dissect different models, talk about their biases and what they're kind of going towards so that you know what model to trust in that situation. This is one of the better ones to trust in the situation that we are going to be in tomorrow. So I do trust what it's kind of putting out. I want to look at one of our other in-house models. So bear with me just 1 second. I'm loading it up as we speak and going to get to the latest data. Now, this is still the afternoon run. So this one isn't completely in yet. So tune in News 6 tonight at 11, and we're going to have the very latest model data on this so that you can plan your morning commute. So there's 5, 6 o'clock, and then there's kind of that push along the coast. And then there's the afternoon push. So both of those, and this is where it gets tricky, and this is kind of, okay, this is the challenge of forecasting. Both of these computer models, this is our in-house model, were in line earlier today. Now they diverge a little bit. This one is continuing to hold with the later start time. Relatively speaking, it's all still coming early. And then that one I just showed you has the rain coming. It's probably going to be a little bit of a blend, I think mid to late morning. And we'll continue to, I think anyway, if you're driving into work at 5 or 6, maybe a few sprinkles out there. But I think the heavier stuff arrives as we get in towards the mid to latter stages of the morning, as I just showed you, as it rolls on up. So we can go back and visit that as well. Again, new 6 at 11, 50 minutes from now. I'll have the latest. We should have the latest run of the high resolution rapid refresh. And then this is, again, the fun part, the detective work of meteorology is, okay, are we going to hold on to that trend of that earlier start time, or are we going to watch it back off and kind of go back to what it was showing earlier? So I'm going to show you that tonight at 11, new 6. If you're out in the greater Central Florida area, would love for you to tune in to get that. And again, you're going to get the latest model run as I see it too. Again, we watched that come in real time because that data was hot off the press. Another reason why I love this live stream so much, because we can just BS and talk about the weather, which I love. Post in the comments if you're just tuning in on YouTube. Have a lot of people watching tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. On the TikTok, share this with your friends. Give the heart things. I'm new to the TikTok world. I'm learning all this lingo. Would love it if you do whatever you do on the TikTok feed again tonight as we time out these storms for you tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate you spending some time with us as we are about 12 minutes into the live stream tonight. We are going to look at some of the dust. Oh, the dust. So one of the cool things, our satellite channels are, thank you guys for the hearts. Appreciate that. Of course, Matt, appreciate you watching and love the icon. It looks like you are into the tropics and you've come to the right place if you want to talk tropics for sure. One of the cool things about our satellites from NOAA launched on our Space Coast, I really think that's one of the cool things about living in Central Florida. Obviously, we have Kennedy Space Center there, but a lot of our weather satellites, if not all of our weather satellites, are launched right there and then do their thing and then keep us safe, give us the early heads up on what's out there. One of the channels we can see the dust, the particulate matter in our atmosphere, and this dust is courtesy of the Sahara Desert. So one of the really cool phenomenons that we deal with here, and I say cool loosely, I talked about this several times before. It does us good for tropical stuff. It may be not the best, again, if you have respiratory problems, and certainly can go into fueling red tide and some of the bad alga blooms as well, because there's a lot of nitrogen in there. This is needed to fertilize the Amazon rainforest, all of that stuff. So again, this dust is needed. It's natural. It does happen every single year. So I want to make sure everybody knows that. We're going to talk about this at length on tomorrow's live stream because we could have some dirty rain here in Florida on really Wednesday night into Thursday. So as that rain is coming down, we also have this layer of pretty thick dust that is currently over Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. And it's going to pick up some of that dust. So you may notice Thursday morning that you have like little dots, little brown dots on your outdoor porch furniture, on your car if you parked it outside. And that is because the raindrops are going to encapsulate some of that dust, bring it to the surface. The drop kind of explodes or breaks apart, evaporates, and then it leaves that dusty residue. We've seen it before, and we may see it again Wednesday night into Thursday. So something to look out for Wednesday night into Thursday with this dust coming through. So this is the current footprint that the satellite channel is picking up of the Saharan dust. And there it is right there, extending back through parts of the Caribbean into Jamaica. It's really thick from Jamaica into parts of the Cayman Islands and Puerto Rico getting a break. I think there's another plume. It's pretty thin, strung out across the main development region of the Atlantic. And then there's, of course, the source region right there in the Sahara Desert. So that was a pretty big ejection of Saharan dust. So now the other cool thing that we have is we can model that. So let me bring up my dust model. It's crazy to say dust model, but there it is. So that is right now, that is still the satellite. This is what I want to show you, this little spiral in. So look at that thick dust again, really arriving, and I'll go back because I don't think I have a pause point in this graphic. But there we go. That's Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning. And then you see it spiral up right through Central Florida. So this is going to be early on Thursday. So the thickest stuff for us, this Central Florida area, really South Florida as well, late Wednesday night into early Thursday. This does typically really enhance the sunrise or sunset. It kind of stinks this time because we have that cloud cover around from the disturbance, so we may not get the benefit of that. It might be too thick anyway. This is a pretty thick plume of dust that I'm showing you here. Thursday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, as it rolls on through. So, might have that dirty rain again. Something to watch for. If anybody has any questions, post that in the comment section. And I'll do my best to answer them. If you have any comments or just want to say where you're tuning in from tonight, would love to see where you're watching from, whether in Central Florida, somewhere else in Florida, or anywhere across the country. If you're finding this live stream to chat about, particularly Central Florida weather, but then we really branch out and get into the tropical feel. Let's check. This was something we haven't checked on over the last couple of nights. This is the Keach Byram Drought Index. It is looking pretty good. Marion County, I think that number of 447 is going to come down big time. Remember, it's been a while since we talked about this because there has been a lot of rain, but wanted to check in on it. A lot of us doing pretty good from Flagler to Lake. We want to really stay below that 300 number. Below 200 is great. 500 is the critical number where burn bans start. So we're as of today, that number of 447 was getting up there again. But look at all of the rain that fell in Marion County. Do I have anybody tuning in from Marion County tonight? Would love to see, and I was looking at the wildfires in Canada. That's why I had this up. So I was playing with this. We have a cool tool in our weather system that we can actually take a look at what the satellite's picking up in terms of the heat content of some of the wildfires up here. We've got hot, very hot. Of course, all fire is hot. Don't touch it. But that's what the satellite's picking up. It has different kind of ranges on there. So I was checking out some of the wildfires out there because there's been a lot of wildfire smoke coming into the lower 48. What I wanted to show you, and the reason for coming to this part of the weather computer, was to show you the amount of rain that fell. We had flood advisories for part of Marion County earlier today. We were tracking those with you on News 6 at 4, 5, and 6 earlier today. And that's radar estimates of about 2 to 4 inches of rain right around, especially north of Ocala, even in Ocala, anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 inches of rain. We had flood advisories today. And that's why I think that number and the Keach Byram Drought Index is going to go way, way down tomorrow. We'll check up on that. I'm going to make a note. Do I have a sheet of paper here? I need to get... Someone stole my notepad. I have a notepad in here. I'm going to make a note and remind me if I forget. We're going to check the Keach Byram Drought Index tomorrow because it'd be interesting to see just what that rain did. And Nia mentions that she saw it poured in Marion County this afternoon. Didn't last that long, but boy golly, when it rained, it poured. Yeah, there's a lot of moisture, and I can show you that moisture. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Thank you guys again, because as we just talk and shoot the breeze about the weather, we can see that the atmospheric moisture coming through. And when there's more moisture in the atmosphere, obviously there's going to be heavier rain. When those thunderstorms get going, there's a lot of that extra stuff for that moisture to play with. I have that model in here, and I'm just going to search it. I say this all the time, and if you've watched the live stream, I talk about it ad nauseum, but my weather show is basically like if I don't know if you guys used a lot of tabs on like your web browser. That is what I have, and I've got a bunch of little chiclets. They're like little boxes, and it's basically a PowerPoint project on steroids. What our weather computers are with all the data being ingested in. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you here. Atmospheric moisture. This is going to be tomorrow, so we're back in the red. So that is why that's what we would call. That's what we would call efficient rainfall producing thunderstorms. They were short lived where Nia was, but they put down a lot of rain today. They were longer lived on the northern half of Marion County towards McIntosh, Reddick, Fort McCoy, and then getting into Alachua County. But there's the atmospheric moisture, and you see the deep red painted across. There's the spiral, by the way. So, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to add my telestration tool. There's my telestration tool because I want to show you something cool, and this is going to be kind of just something for us to when we're really tracking. Okay, it didn't pause. I swear I said a pause point. This is going to be something when we really get into like the meat and potatoes of hurricane season, when we're watching these tropical waves come across the Atlantic. We can determine, okay, has it closed off? Has that center closed off? And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just 1 second. I'm just going to add my pause points in here so it'll stop. And then we can go the John Madden telestration mode. Okay, so this is going to be Wednesday night. So here's this white kind of flow here. That's the wind direction at the surface. If everybody can see those white lines there. Notice how they work their way like this, and then it kind of bends back like that. See how it makes that kind of like U or upside down U or an N shape? That's what we call an open wave. So there is a wave there. It's not of tropical origin, so it's not a tropical wave, but it's just an open wave of low pressure. And that's not really a storm. So we don't have a really low there. It's kind of like an elongated area. Let's take this out into the future a little bit. Same kind of deal. And this is why, again, it's going to struggle to develop because notice where we have that kink in the wind flow still around Wilmington. It's over land. Obviously, for it to be tropical, it needs to be that heat engine. It needs to gain all of its strength from the warm water of the ocean. So this model, anyway, I think this is the European. It wants to keep it kind of on land there. And this never closes it. It does right here. So this is Friday, 7 o'clock, off the Carolina coast. Now notice how it's at least a little more closed. It's still elongated a little bit. This would not be tropical in nature. This would, notice how we have all the moisture back here. For this to be tropical, and again, we'll go over the definition a lot this season because that's one of the things too that you guys can kind of watch and like take your homework assignment if you like watching these things. Again, I always say like nerding out watching the weather. If you'd like to do that, it's kind of the things to look out for so that you can see for yourself, okay, hey, we have a closed center here. This thing might be a depression or a tropical storm or something or whatever. But we also need to have that moisture wrapped around the center for that to be tropical. Thunderstorms erupting around the center, that wouldn't be tropical. So again, it has a very, very, and that's why it's only a 10% shot from the hurricane center. It's a non-zero entity, but it's very, very low. All right, so Zachary asks, will the sunsets and sunrises with this round of Saharan dust be thin enough to see? My concern with getting in on those sunrises and sunsets this time around, it's the cloud cover and the rain around. We're going to have to get a good break in the clouds Thursday morning to take advantage of that. it may do some gnarly things with the clouds around and everything. So it could be like a weird looking morning on Thursday. Um, so it'd be something to see. I'm not too optimistic about it being super vibrant, but if we get some breaks in the clouds, it could be. Um, it's just I don't know if there are going to be many breaks in the clouds on Thursday morning, so it might have to be. It might have to be just very, very lucky. Eric's asking any indication that smoke from the Canadian fires may reach Florida. I think it happened briefly last year. It did, and it did this year as well. It got to about Jacksonville just the other day. That front that came through, it did bring some down, but it kind of stalled over Central Florida, so it never brought it into like the Orlando area. It pretty much made it right to the Georgia-Florida line, and then got pushed back as with the weather pattern that we are seeing right about now. So that's the deal with that. Um, and that may be kind of like our last run with the fronts. That was kind of like a late season front anyway that pushed through. So we may not have a shot at seeing the wildfire. It was weird though, because the southern tip of Florida on, I guess it was Sunday, the southern tip of Florida had the Saharan dust, and then the northern part of the state had the wildfire smoke, and then Central Florida was kind of sandwiched in between. It had a really, really crazy satellite look because it was dusty and hazy all in the same shot over the state of Florida. Alrighty, guys, that about does it. I am waiting on the latest model data to come in. That should be in by the 11 o'clock news. So we're going to have that latest for your commute time tomorrow. If you leave for work early, I think you're going to be okay unless you're right along the coast. If you leave a little bit later, maybe like 7, 8, 9 o'clock, taking the kids to daycare, I think that's when it's going to impact you a little bit more. But the models are kind of not changing. They're just kind of honing in onto the most likely solution. And we have a trend developing here with at least one of the models that I like to look at the most. Again, all models are guidance, not gospel. But that trend is certainly being there. So if you are watching in the greater Central Florida area, Orlando, Ocala, Mitco, Melbourne, Daytona Beach, Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Sumter County, in the Lake County, Bushnell, Mount Dora, and you have cable or streaming, tune in the new 6 at 11. We're going to give you that latest future radar so that you can see for yourself and kind of plan out your morning if you're going to have to be on guard or not. And if you don't have cable and you are watching from the same area or even outside of that area, download New 6 Plus. Show of hands in my last 2 minutes. Hit that thumbs up button or the heart if you have New 6 Plus. It's a free download. You get all of our newscasts live, and there is a bunch of different weather content that we have there. One of those is this, that for the entirety of the hurricane season, it's going to go through this loop so you can see in real time where the Saharan dust is, where the Hurricane Center has something outlooked. You're going to get your satellite data right there, and this is looping here. And then when there are active storms, we're going to have that portion out, and you're going to be able to track those storms and get all of that data as it's updated from the Hurricane Center right into your TV if you have that. So if you do like to track the tropics, there's the satellite example. You can see all the mess over Florida and parts of the Western Caribbean. That's going to be there as well. Also, the News 6 weather app. Great tool. Show of hands, who has that? It is a free download. There's now hurricane tracking interactive capabilities. We're going to have much more on how to use that over the next couple of weeks. But it's a great, great tool. It's a free download. Download that for free in your app store, whether you have Android, iOS, all of the above. It's there. In my last few seconds, just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. My voice is getting a little raspy tonight. I had my 10 p.m. coffee. It's a little cold now, but it was enough to keep the juice going to the live stream at 11 o'clock. Again, latest model data coming up tonight at 11 o'clock on News 6. Join myself, Matt, and Ginger, and we are going to go over, of course, the latest news headlines and all of the above. Thank you guys a ton for tuning in. Catch you tomorrow night at 10 in and about 30 minutes, new 6 at 11. See you then.